Here in New York City today, my hometown. We're down here along the Hudson River in Lower Manhattan at the beginning of Battery Park, and I'm here with my longtime best friend Hulon here.
Hey guys.
Hey. So
everyone on Nick's global Niko feed, I'm here.
So we go back all the way to middle school, and we've stayed really good friends ever since then. And since he still lives here in New York City, even though I don't, for now, whenever I come to New York City, whenever I come back, I of course gotta hang out with my buddy here, who's gonna show us around some nice places here, because we really lucked out with the weather today. It's a really nice day here today, like 75, sunny, low
really
humidity.
This is like the best weather day we had since last time around.
Yeah, I mean, those of you who are maybe familiar with New York's climate, you get a lot of shit days too, so both on the cold and on the hot side, but today it's beautiful. So we're taking a walk down here at Battery Park, which has long been one of my favorite spots in the city, because especially on a nice clear day, you could really see a lot. You could see the harbor, you could see bridges, Statue of Liberty, which is right over there. I've never been on the Statue of Liberty, but I've been near it from the Staten Island Ferry.
Yeah, me too. That's as close as I get.
That's the freeway to do it, right?
That freeway to see the Statue of Liberty is taking the Staten Island Ferry.
That's right, yeah. And I mean, yeah, you don't get to go actually on the Statue of Liberty if you take the Staten Island Ferry, but you get to go close to it. And honestly, for me, I think that that's kind of enough.
Some
yeah,
people get the view every morning, every day, coming from, I think that's St. George's part of Staten Island, and then they cross over. It takes about maybe 20 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
By the ferry. They take buses too for people who want to go. But
yeah, I mean, it's a nice little a nice kind of free way to go across New York Harbor, because then you just go to the other side over to Staten Island and then just come right back, or see some stuff in Staten Island if there's anything. Is there anything to see in Staten Island?
I'm sure there's people out there for a reason, but it's mostly homes and service stuff.
Now we're not ragging on Staten Island now, okay? So if anybody from Staten Island is watching, we're not trying to put down Staten Island. I'm just genuinely asking, because I mean that's not the part of New York City I'm from, so I'm just genuinely asking, like, if there's something to see there.
I've actually went to a Polish restaurant at St. George's, tip of Staten Island once, and it was all right.
All right. So
I didn't know they had that, but they did, and that's I spent like maybe a few steps in Staten Island, and I said, all right, trying to get back on the ferry, go back to Manhattan.
Yeah. See, so all right, so there's good Polish food. Hey, you know, that's something that you might wanna get, and you can get good Polish food in Staten Island.
So pull up down here. I guess this is the actual park.
This side of Battery Park that kind of goes up the beginning of the west side of Manhattan. I mean, it's a little more residential up to there, and of course, you know, this is Lower Manhattan near the financial district, so when we mean residential, we mean wealthy. So it's like very kind of upscale, very quiet, and Hulon was saying here, it seems like a private park, even though it's not, but it's kind of like, all right, it's a really quiet, upscale type of place. But then you come around here to the main part of Battery Park, and it's a little more public looking and feeling, and it's a little more touristy. And of course, on a day like today, because it's really nice out, there's a lot of people out just kind of walking around, and you know, kids playing around. And
but this
so
is pretty like medium, you know, busy compared to all the other parks that would be on a day like this. This is pretty not too busy, but
well, and it's also early in the day too. I would imagine that later on, like late afternoon, evening, there'll probably be even more people. So Battery Park is down at the bottom of Manhattan, the southern tip of Manhattan. And Battery Park's always been one of my favorite places in New York City, in part because way back when I was a small child, my grandfather actually used to work at a barber shop in this area, a barber shop that is no longer around, but he used to bring me to work with him sometimes down to this area. And if it was a nice day, we would go out and take a walk through Battery Park. So if it was a day like today, we would take a walk here after he was done with work, or during a break we'd come down here and have lunch. And so, you know, so Battery Park for me has always been a kind of a cool place that I always have a lot of good memories of.
That's interesting. And what if they didn't? So this is actually a place I'm also very familiar with. Not so much familiar with Battery Park, but this is the part that I'm familiar with. Battery Park ends and the financial district begins. When I was little, well, somewhat little, I always was interested in money. I changed my major in college to economics, so this is why I got interested in the whole situation regarding finance. And I don't work down here no more, but I was always intrigued by the way they do business, you know, movies. Doesn't really tell you the real thing. There's inside trading. No, I'm just kidding. There's stuff that happens that you just...
They would never, ever, ever do that around here. Are you kidding me? They would never do that around here. That only happens in movies. No insider trading or theft ever happens in real life here. Are you kidding me?
No. We're very good with our accounting principles. No, the thing is that this is more of a symbol. It's no longer the same Wall Street. Wall Street's in a cloud, I guess you would say. And same thing with me. I don't work down here anymore. Nobody really comes down here except for like administrative people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Wall Street in Lower Manhattan, you know, it's more of like a legacy kind of place with being the financial center of the US. But yeah, now things are more digital. Now with the pandemic, things are even more remote now. So yeah, it's kind of, it doesn't have the same energy as it used to for all those reasons.
After the pandemic, the same energy is not here anymore. Like, this street would be busy with people going to and from lunch, people go to work. I mean, some people still show up, but not the same way.
There was a time when it was hopping in this area on any given weekday at this time, especially around lunchtime like now, and it's just not like that now so much. But yeah, it's not entirely because of the pandemic. It's also just because times are changing. Technology, all these things that don't require people to come down here like it used to back in the past.
Most of your banking activity is going to happen in like in Midtown now. Like a lot of the stuff down here is mostly like office space, and you know, of course they have banks still here.
And you know, I'm a little biased about this because I'm from Queens, but it is a pain in the ass to get down here, whereas Midtown is so much easier to get to from Queens and from a lot of other places too. So I think that's a little bit part of it too. It's just more convenient up there than it is down here. New York City is always going to be my city, even if I don't ever move back here again. Because the thing is, when you leave New York City, even if you're from here, even if you grew up here, at least partially like I did, you know, things change here constantly. The city doesn't stay the same forever, so you start to lose touch a little bit with how things are here. But certain things are always the same, which includes that view of the Brooklyn Bridge right behind me. I mean, that view is always going to be there and always going to look nice no matter how much the city itself changes. When your hometown is New York City, it's kind of different from if your hometown is like some small town or some small city, because New York City is a place that there's a lot of people from here, but there's a lot of people that live here who are not actually from here, so you get this whole, you know, whether you're a real New Yorker or not. I mean, I don't think that there's a real definition on what a you know, real New Yorker is. But for me, I mean, I consider myself a real New Yorker just because I'm from here. But, you know, I think that for me, it's always going to be a city that I enjoy coming back to as often as I can. Even if I never live here again, I'm still going to always be a New Yorker at heart.
003. Wow, we bet at least 32%.
Guys, and Gucci bag, Louis Vuitton, perfume, handbag, watches, handbag, watches.
Let's go. You couldn't even find a seat half the time during pre-pandemic times.
Yeah.
Now look at it. It's like, I don't know. It's crazy. Let's wait for this card.
Little Italy is certainly quieter than usual. Now, of course, it is a Tuesday afternoon between lunch and dinner time, so that's part of it too. But yeah, we were just saying with Hulon how Little Italy was definitely livelier the last couple of times that we have passed through here, because you know we've
sometimes.
yeah, but you know, I mean, most of the restaurants here seem like they're still open. All right, so some areas are pretty busy.
A lot of cookies.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was gonna try one of their famous cronuts, but they're apparently sold out. Gotta get here earlier for the cronut. So what do we got here?
We got a lot of cookies in this bag. We got a gift for a cookie shot. You pour the cold infused milk inside of the cookie shot, and you crunch on it while you're drinking the shot.
All right, me, I got an iced coffee, and since they did not have their famous cronut, they sold out. Go figure. I mean, it is like 4 in the afternoon. So just a little chocolate chunk. Yeah, so here in Soho, it's a little quieter because this is really more like the sort of rich fashion people area, so not as crazy as like Chinatown and places like that.
When we get further this way, it'll be a little bit crazier.
That's how you cross the street in New York City. Just run across really, really quickly. There is a sense generally that life is going back to normal around here, because even though you still see masks in certain places, COVID testing centers like the one we just passed by, in general life still seems to be going back to normal. In a lot of places now in the city, since the pandemic, they have these little outdoor seating areas because the restaurants couldn't have indoor seating, or they could only have limited capacity indoor seating during COVID, which anybody who's ever been to New York City knows how crowded and tight a lot of restaurants are around here. So to get around that, they built these outdoor seating areas and expanded outdoor seating into the street because there's nowhere else to go outside. Here at Claudetti's, waiting on my adult Capri Sun. Never had an adult Capri Sun before. Hulon's is already here, so which kind of adult Capri Sun are you drinking?
This is a Georgia, sweet Georgia or something like that.
And then mine, I actually don't even remember. I just ordered it. I ordered one of the other ones. It's got kind of like a pineapple taste to it. What in Hulon, what does yours taste like?
It tastes like peaches.
Look, if there's an empty train car in the subway in New York City, you usually don't want to go in it because it means there's something really nasty in there. But not this time. I seriously have this car all to myself, and there is not a homeless person in here, there is not a crackhead in here, there is not fresh fecal matter anywhere, or probably even any kind, or any weird smells or anything gross that would make this train be empty. It's just empty. It's not even that late at night. It's like 9 p.m. So just so you know that even now with COVID, but you know, especially when we get fully past the COVID times, do not expect that to be the case. I have never seen an empty train car at 9 p.m. that wasn't empty because of something really gross. I'll probably never get a train car that's empty all to myself for no reason again. But here we are now at